Thank you. So now we're going to hear some perspectives from the funders of public engagement who have made a real commitment, I think, to this space. I'm delighted in a second to be introducing Emma Wakelin from the Arts and Humanities Research Council, who happened to have funded a lot of the Kaya heritage work, so you must be very proud. And then after we've heard from Emma, we're going to hear from Madeleine Atkins, who's the Chief Executive of the Higher Education Funding Council. So a real chance, I think, now to step back a little and think about the policy framework within which that kind of amazing work can actually happen. So, Emma, would you like to join us on stage? Emma is an Associate Director at the Arts and Humanities Research Council, where she's been responsible for, 15 years for a host of different things, including thinking about postgraduate provision, thinking about modern languages, and more recently thinking about partnership, really, about how to build powerful partnership. So she's going to talk a little bit about the arts and humanities, but also about Research Councils UK, the umbrella body that work with all of the 7 research councils to drive change, really. So Emma, over to you.
Thank you. Magic button. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I feel I have a very hard act to follow, following the Kaya project, and we're very proud to have heard all about your project again. I think I want to pick up on 2 particular themes as I go through now. The first one is, for me, how easy, actually in my position, I'm very lucky, how easy it is for me to take for granted that people do projects like that, because I have a great job in many ways. I spend a lot of time being exposed to things like that and spending my days going, that's amazing, that's fantastic. And actually it's quite hard then to sit back and say, well, what are the ingredients that makes that possible? So that's one thing I want to talk about. And the word that Sophie used a lot, which is curiosity, I think is very important. Paul asked me to start with an anecdote about what really stimulated my interest in this whole area. And again, it is quite hard for me to pick out one moment because I do get exposed to a lot of very good moments. But I think one that spoke to me personally I'm going to talk about. Imagine, if you will, me as a rather tired and harassed mother dragging my 2 children around a museum. It's quite hard to inspire children when they're very fidgety and get them to use their imaginations. They have fantastic imaginations, but if you show them glass cases full of bones, they tend to kind of switch off. Shut up, Mum. Can we go to the cafe? And then I came across a project which we funded through one of our knowledge exchange hubs. It was the React Hub, which is based here in Bristol. And it's a project called the Ivory Bangle Lady Project. Now, this began as a glass case full of bones with a bit of jewellery and an old pot next to it in a museum. And what really drew me to this project was I could just picture myself taking my children past this and going, these are Roman bones. This is not just a Roman lady in Britain. This was in York. This was a lady from North Africa. What was she doing in Roman Britain? And my kids going, yeah, come on, Mum. What about that cafe? What happened in this project was that we got a researcher, an arts and humanities researchers, together with a digital technology business working with the museum, and they completely revolutionised the experience for children in that museum by bringing it to life. So they used digital technology. I'm going to show you the slightly scary picture here. They used an actress, who's the far side of the face there, who began to embody this lady of North African descent who found her way to Roman York. And she tells a story about her life and how she got there. But the children, most importantly, the children, when they come to the museum, are now given little handhelds, like a thing a bit like an iPhone, and they can tweet. They're asked questions by this lady, digital image of this lady, and they can tweet their answers. And then she asks them more questions, and they have to look at the exhibits to find out the answers. And kids absolutely love this. And originally I thought that just proves the power of digital technology, because my kids will be interested in anything if it involves pressing buttons and clicking gadgets. But actually, as I thought more and more about this, I think the technology is a gateway, it's a portal, and it opens up a world to the kids. And what actually interests them and gets them excited is this deep knowledge, this scholarly knowledge underneath, which is telling us how people lived all that time ago, how people might have arrived in Roman Britain from North Africa. And that really is stimulating their curiosity as children, that they are full of curiosity. And I think if you can capture that at that age, we need to kind of bottle that magic, because that's what makes a difference for the rest of their life. That stimulation and that excitement about that sense of, I've discovered this for myself. Actually, that's what research is, and that's why I think this is such a powerful project. Oop. So, on to more prosaic matters. This is an extract. This is what we say in the Arts and Humanities in our current strategy document. So arts and humanities research is a vital part of the cultural wealth of this country, engaging millions of people through the exhibitions they visit, the music they listen to, the books they read, and the plays and the films they watch. And I think that kind of sums up for me what's different about arts and humanities research. I think it does work differently from the sciences. There are lots of overlaps, and there are areas that are the same. But actually what's fundamental to arts and humanities research is this idea of an audience is actually built into what we study in the arts and humanities, whether we're studying the present creative and performing arts practice, or the past, as we've just heard about. It's about understanding people and understanding what makes us human. And I think that's why arts and humanities researchers tend kind of instinctively to be good engagers of the public, because they're used to thinking in that way. And I think the Kaya project was a brilliant illustration of what we always say. We sometimes have a hard time explaining this to our funders in government, but what arts and humanities researchers need is time, and time to explore ideas with other people. And actually, we don't need a huge amount more than that. And this is fundamental, I think, to public engagement: time to talk, time to work together, and this idea of it being a partnership of equals. So it's not like a researcher isn't a dominant personality. It's really, what do I bring, what do you bring, and what does that mix together produce? And I think to people who sometimes say to us, but getting us to talk to the public, isn't that dumbing down? I don't need to do that. And I think it's absolutely not dumbing down. It's really fundamentally important. It's raising the level of public debate by joining together. So I think this is why public engagement is a central part of what we do at the AHRC. One really interesting set of things that we've been doing recently, I'm going to move on, is our work with the BBC, which again is a fantastic route to public engagement. We started working several years ago now with the BBC on our New Generation Thinkers scheme. The whole idea of this was to generate a new generation of academics who can really excel at explaining their research, however complex and arcane it might be, to very broad audiences through workshops and training provided by the BBC. We're now in the process of recruiting our 5th annual cohort of New Generation Thinkers. The first cohort began in 2011, and we were expecting a modest number of proposals, bearing in mind that only 10 people get through to be identified as the New Generation Thinkers each year. Only 10 people. We had over 1,000 applications the first time we ran this, and it was an impossible task to whittle it down. So we have been thinking of other ways in which we can really build on all of that enthusiasm. And we've been running regular workshops now, enabling arts and humanities researchers to work with BBC editors, commissioning editors. So thinking about programmes that are coming up and what sort of input they might need. That's been a really successful set of programmes for us, and huge benefits for the researchers, who often find this is a gateway to a very successful broadcasting career, and something that they find very stimulating. But I think more importantly, the BBC find it hugely valuable, and a really good illustration of that is the work that we've done on World War I. So the BBC often get in touch with us saying, there's some big anniversaries coming up. There's World War I. We're working at the moment on, is it the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's birth or death? She said vaguely. I should know the answer to that. We've also done work on the anniversary of Dylan Thomas's death, and so on. So the World War I was really fascinating, because the BBC got in touch with us saying, can you put us in touch with some academics? We want to planning our series of programmes around First World War anniversary. And they said, we'll need historians. In fact, we'll need military historians. And we said, well, you don't just want military. It's not just about the war, the battles. What about the people who can tell you the impact on everyday life during what else was going on during 1914 to 18 in the UK, in the rest of Europe, and further afield? What people doing? How are they feeling? What were they wearing? What were they listening to? all of those sorts of things. And I don't know, I might be doing the BBC a disservice here, but it didn't seem to have occurred to them that there were all those other perspectives. And apologies if I am doing them a disservice, but I think they ended up with a really rich take as a result of being exposed to all of those different academics. We've got a fantastic booklet, which is full of stories about the World War I at Home project and many other things, which I think my colleagues have got on display somewhere in one of the many rooms here. So that's been really exciting. And one of the really flagship things for the BBC is the World War I at Home project, which is bringing together stories put together by communities all over the UK, their stories of their World War I experiences in their communities. I think they're aiming for 1,400 stories in total, and they're quite a long way towards achieving that already. So this is our booklet. So have a look out for that, because it's a really interesting read. Genuinely, I'm not not just doing my advertising job there. So what have we learnt in the AHRC about engaging outside academia? I mean, I think what we've learnt is we have been genuinely taken aback by the demand for the knowledge that our researchers have. We've learnt a huge amount about the challenges as well as the benefits of working in partnership with the creative sector, the cultural museum sector, and with community groups. And we're trying to embed that, I think, in a lot of our funding schemes now by building it in right at the earliest funding stage that we're responsible for, so making sure that doctoral students we support have access to training in public engagement, and early career researchers do as well. But I think really importantly, it's also about building capacity, not just in individual researchers, but in institutions, in universities themselves, because there are challenges to working like this. And I think universities can inadvertently put barriers in the way of people who want to engage with these small groups. And for us, it is small community groups and small museums and so on. I mean, those barriers can be that universities are often set up in terms of their payments and their contracting processes to work on a massive scale with big kind of global partners. But if you're talking about making payments to an individual, a community group, or a very small local museum, you can't work in that kind of monolithic way. You have to pay people promptly, small amounts, and you have to have contractual processes that are appropriate to those small games, those small sizes. So just quickly, I'm going to flag up the wider work that we do across the research councils in public engagement. There's a huge amount of information on our website. We've recently reviewed and refreshed our public engagement strategy, but there's a huge amount of case studies and examples of good practice which we're trying to share across the councils and learn from the things that people have been doing. I'm not going to read all of these out, but it's full of examples of the benefits, and I think that's really important for us to say as research councils, the benefits for researchers. It makes your research more interesting. It makes people very happy as researchers when they work in this way, because it's incredibly rewarding. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Emma. And I think what an invitation to do work of this kind, actually. I think there's a real appetite from the funders of research in the UK for us to just step up and show them what we can do. So thank you.